To validate any startup idea that you have, the first thing that you need is an MVP. So today we're talking about minimum viable product, how to actually build one in 2025 without wasting too much time, resources, or launching something nobody wants. Now here's the thing, everybody is thinking they know what an MVP is. Some say it's a simple landing page, some think it's a half-built app, others say it should be like a finished product from day one. And the truth is, they're all kinda right, because what makes something an MVP depends on your business situation, your audience, and industry standards. The real goal of an MVP is to validate your idea with as little time and money as possible. So if you're spending 6 months and 50k building your MVP, is it still an MVP? Well, maybe. For a really complex project, it might be. But for most SaaS startups, that's probably already too much. And now, with tools like ChatGPT, Cloud, and V0, you can build faster and cheaper than ever before. But faster doesn't always mean smarter, because if you don't have a clear plan, AI won't make your MVP successful. So in this video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step framework to build an MVP that's simple, smart, and strategic. Hi, I'm Nico, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. We share every week a new video for tech founders who are interested in building successful AI and SaaS products. Now let's dive into this topic. So for years, MVP concept came from the Lean Startup playbook. The idea was simple: build fast, launch, learn, iterate. But in 2025, the landscape has changed. We've got AI tools, no-code platforms, instant deployment tools, you name it. You can build something that looks finished in a weekend. But that's also the problem, because now everyone can build fast, which means competition is way bigger. And with user expectations so high, your MVP has to feel intentional, even if it's minimal. So in today's world, the MVP isn't just about building quickly, it's about learning quickly, testing with purpose, building just enough to get real feedback from real users. So that's what we're going to cover, the 5 steps you need to build a smart MVP in 2025. These are the same steps we use at Codelevate, where we help SaaS founders go from idea to launch super fast. Let's break it down. Step 1. Start with extensive research. The first mistake most founders make is starting with a product idea instead of a real problem. Your MVP isn't about your vision, it's about validating someone else's pain. So try to talk to at least 10 people in your niche you're focusing on. Ask them questions like, what's the most frustrating part of your job? How do you currently handle this task? What's something you wish the tool could do for you? Don't lead them into a solution, just listen. For example, when we launched SwapCard, the digital business card platform, we didn't start with a full digital solution. We tried to deep dive into the behavior of people who are often going to conferences and share contact details. How they use right now business cards, what are their MVP goals and frustrations, so that we can understand how to shape our first MVP. In that way, we focus only on the most important problems and saved us months of building something nobody wants. You can also do a secondary research, which is more broad, focusing on quantitative data, and find some patterns that will help you understand the industry better. And I'm sure you'll always find in many cases competitors that solve a similar problem like you. So by doing a competitor analysis, it will also help you understand if there is an opportunity to provide a better solution to a problem, or simply the problem is not big enough to focus on at this stage. Step 2. Prioritize solutions. Once you know the problem, don't rush into building a featured list. Start by identifying what's essential and cut the rest. For this, we use the Moscow method. Moscow method helps you decide on which solutions you must focus on for your MVP and plays an important role in your future roadmap. It separates your solution into 4 categories. The first one is must-haves. These are the absolutely required solutions you need to focus on. The second one is should-haves. These are the nice ones, but not critical, and believe me, sometimes it's really difficult to say what is a must-have and nice-to-have solution. So you need to be really precise here. The third one is could-haves, and here we state the solutions that don't bring too much value at this point, but maybe at a later stage you might need them. Finally, want-haves. These are the solutions you won't focus for the MVP, and you need to be super critical at this stage. So once you go through this exercise, you will have a better understanding of what you should focus on for your MVP. For example, with SwapCard, we didn't build a fancy dashboard or a process that allowed users to create their own digital business card. What we did instead, we built just a landing page with a product video and a form. When someone purchased a digital card, we manually created it on the backend and sent it to them. It wasn't automated, but it worked, and people were willing to pay for that. That's a true MVP, at least for us. Lean, focus, and validate the core value. Step 3. Choose the right MVP approach. Once you know what you're building, it's time to decide how you're going to build it. There are a few common approaches. You could create a no-product MVP like a landing page with a waitlist, or an MVP where you deliver the service manually to test the experience. Or maybe a single feature MVP, a tool that does one thing really well. Take Airbnb for example. Their MVP was super scrappy in the beginning. They listed their apartment, threw some air mattresses on the floor and took photos. No platform, no payments, just a basic test to see if people would actually pay. And they did. Pick the MVP style that gets you to the truth as fast as possible. At this stage, you're not building a full product. You're testing an assumption and you're trying to understand how this could solve a bigger problem. Step 4. Define success before you launch. You need to decide, what are you trying to learn? Too many founders launch and say, let's just see what happens. That's not a strategy. Before you go live, set a few clear, successful criteria. For example, how many people sign up? How many use the product more than once? Where they're willing to pay? Or what kind of feedback they give? You don't need huge numbers, you just need direction. That helped us understand if the product was actually helpful, not just interesting. So before you launch, find the outcome that will tell you, yes, we are on the right track. Step 5. Map out what comes next. Now let's say your MVP is out there. People are using it, you've got the feedback. What's next? This is where most founders struggle, because they don't have a roadmap. That's where the story mapping helps. You start with the user goal, then break it down into key activities, then break those into user stories, and finally into individual tasks. This gives you a clear path from MVP to full product. One that's actually based on what your users need, not what you think they want. With Swapcart, once we saw that users love the product, we used their feedback to design our roadmap. Not based on our wish list, but based on what their problems were, and together we explore possible solutions. This step turns your MVP into a real, scalable product. So here is the takeaway. In 2025, anyone can build an MVP. But if you're building fast, without user feedback and building features that nobody wants, you'll also fail fast. What gives you the edge is clarity. Knowing what to build, for who, and how to scale it. So let's recap the 5 steps. Number 1. Start with deep user research. Number 2. Prioritize only what's essential. Number 3. Pick the fastest MVP style to test your idea. Number 4. Define what success looks like before launch. Number 5. Use story mapping to scale with purpose. If you follow this process, you are going from idea to insight without burning time and money.
Want help building your MVP the right way? At Codelevate, we work with founders like you, taking ideas from zero to product with a process that works. Download our free MVP checklist. Link is in the description. It covers every step we talked about with examples and templates. And if you're serious about launching, book a free MVP strategy call. We'll map out your idea and help you build something that gets results. If this video helped you, subscribe, and drop your MVP idea in the comments. I read them all, and I'd love to hear what you're working on. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.